This summer we're starting that business where we're going to give educational tours in the large truck. And because I live in America, a land where if I trip over my shoelaces I will sue you for having a floor, I felt it was prudent to probably put some cameras on the truck. Just as, a safeguard. Life we live, world we live in. So I contacted this company and I expressed my desire for a system with 3 cameras that would record. One of the cameras had to record sound. And they said no problem, and they sent me this. You have this monitor here, which has an input for 4 cameras and a speaker. It broadcasts audio on that first channel, first of 4 channels. But it doesn't have any DVR. So they sent along with it a 4-channel DVR. But even without putting it together, it was very clear that the 2 units aren't designed for each other. I got an expensive standalone non-record monitor and an expensive standalone no monitor DVR. So I contacted the company and they sent me this cable here. So what I'm going to do is hook the cameras into the first 3 channels here, and then on the DVR out, which does not match the out for the monitor, we're going to put that. And then this will plug into the monitor itself, so that apparently the output of this unit will show on the monitor. It's a touch disappointing because they sold me a unit where I could flip from camera to camera to camera, so I could put the entire camera, the backup camera, the passenger compartment camera, and then I want a front-facing camera, though I won't watch it. Just, security reasons. They say that this will now show up stacked, picture, picture, picture. If I had 4, it'd be down there, meaning it'll be pretty dang-ass tiny. That wasn't exactly what they sold me when we were communicating. And unfortunately, whenever I ask serious questions, the English of the employees of the company seems to deteriorate. So the last email I got, I think I understood it. They were claiming that this unit would recognize the 3 individual camera signals coming out of this single pole here. My gut tells me it's total BS, but that's what we're here today to find out. I'm going to hook up the 3 cameras, this one, there's one in there. This is supposedly the audio camera, as it has this little tiny pinhole. That should be fun. And I'm going to power them off of my benchtop computer power supply, because I think that'll give me some pretty clean 12 volts. Both of these units are supposed to function anywhere between like 10 volts and 36. So I'll be driving them on 12 here. I'll be driving them on 24 in the truck. It's supposed to handle it. I admit that makes me nervous. And I'm kind of wondering if I should just regulate it down to 12. But I guess let's find out what happens. Okay, so that is camera ported into 2. So we know that the monitor itself is functioning. The cameras aren't bad. They're not perfect, but they're not bad. So I went back and I bundled these 2 wires together, and I guess from what I can decipher from the instructions, the yellow is probably a trigger, but it's not a regular trigger because it doesn't need just a momentary flash of power and then the unit runs for say 15 minutes or whatnot, like a dome light or a backup light or something like that. It apparently needs power all the time, which once I did that, I got it to come up on here. Now we've got green on power, red on record, red on what I assume is the SD card. So maybe it's formatting the SD card. That would make sense. I just have an 8 gig in here. We'll see what develops. So there we sit on the screen. Hey, look at that menu just came on. Holy crap. Oh, I finally got her working. Still don't have the audio hooked up. The unit outputs to audio, but the cable they sent me with what I think is an audio connection, it's a different kind of audio connection. It's got like a power port, so I'm a little afraid to splice audio into it. I'm sure you can imagine. But well, that's the camera system. Now it's just a matter of putting it in the truck. Here's the, I guess you call it the mounting board installed. And nothing's been tied up out of the way. It's held in with 4 zip ties to an aluminum plate. Adds a heat sink. Don't think it needs it. And as far as strength goes, each one of those zip ties is good for 120 pounds. So in theory, I could hang and bounce off that. It'll look a lot neater once I got the wires tied up. I didn't want to cut into the truck. I didn't want to drill any more holes than I had to, so this works. So you have one camera mounted right there, which connects straight to the unit. Then 2 others feed into the rear. This, unfortunately, isn't exactly what I was sold, but it does function. I was sold a unit that would have 4 separate triggers, and what I got was a monitor with 4 separate triggers, which doesn't record, and a DVR, which has to be first in the chain, and it only has 1 trigger. Basically, when the battery switches on, it's running. So there it comes up. This is the first time running with all of the cameras connected and in the vehicle. Ugh, it looks a little rough right now. Of course, all the batteries in the truck were dead. I did have to turn it off, turn it back on to get it to come up. So this is what I get to choose from. And why I'm so disappointed was originally it was implied, I guess. I'm not going to say anybody straight up lied. They sure didn't go out of their way to explain the truth. Anyways, that I could push this cam button and I could bring up any one of these completely. That, and it's dark because I have the tarp over the whole thing still, so all we're getting is light out the rear. That's the passenger compartment. That's the lilac hedge the truck is backed into. And of course that is driver's compartment. I don't know if we'll see anything out those windows. I have the tarp over the top. I don't know if we'll see anything out those windows when that's removed or not. They told me that I could, yeah. Alright, so if I push 1 on the remote, I can full screen. That would be the backup camera. which is the reversed camera. I had a 50-50 chance of getting the two cameras. I have one that's a forward facing and one that's, you know, mirror image. So this is like you're looking into a mirror. Guess it makes it a lot easier to back up because it responds the way you expect. Anyways, I had a 50-50 chance, and as you all know, with a 50-50 chance, that means you have a 75% chance of getting it wrong the first time. And I did. Here's two. That's the compartment camera. Boy, that gets a pretty good look. There's a row of seats that'll be backward facing right here, so you won't get those, but you'll get everything else. It's the world we live in. There's the driver's compartment. Pushing number 4, we'll go to camera 4, which blanks it out. And they said pushing 5. Yep, we'll put it back in to that. I wish the backup camera, if we were parked in the road, you'd get more definition. And of course, I only guessed where I pointed the things. So it looks like I pointed them pretty well. So yeah, that's the camera system. Just this unit, 4 cameras, no recording, was really pretty cheap. And then they had quite a few similar 2-camera units, which might be more useful for some of you folks that maybe don't need to record. I figure if you have the dang thing, it might as well record, personally. And if you only needed 2, a backup camera and a camera out the front, there were some 2-in-1 units that would record and show in the monitor, and they actually had slots for 2 32 gig SD cards rather than 1 like this system has. But it does have overwrite, so you know, if nothing cool is going on, it just keeps going and going. But yeah, I figured that might be useful to some of you guys who want to be able to look out the rear when you back up. That branch is right up against the camera, so it's, and of course they're all washed out with snow, and there's some adjustments we can do, but I haven't played with those yet. There we go. It's mounted in a decent spot. Wish it was a little farther back. Blocks my low range instructions. But I felt better putting holes. I didn't want to put holes in the truck where I could help it, which is why I've done so much with zip ties. That, you know, she's not a show pony. She has to produce. She has to work. She has to produce. That's the CB stuff. Anyways, see, that's all the extra camera feeds. I'm really just using this monitor as just a monitor. Maybe get some batteries that work. That'd be nice too.